In the Bible, the church has been called to be in the world, but not of the world. It also calls the church to be salt and light to this world. But unfortunately, the modern church has locked itself in towers to separate themselves from the world. We now have towers of salt and towers of light. Matthew chapter 5 verse 13 says, "You are the salt of the earth, but if the salt loses its saltiness, how can it be made salty again? It is no longer good for anything except to be thrown out and trampled underfoot." At the beginning of that verse, it says, "We, the church, are the salt of the earth." Unfortunately, in our modern society, we tend to stay confined behind the four walls of the church. We are like salt that is collecting in one place, defeating its original purpose. It just sits there and wastes away until it is useless. Eventually, salt loses its saltiness. If the body of Christ stays locked up in our towers, in our cathedrals, too long, without activating our faith, we eventually lose our saltiness, our passion to see the lost world saved. When God's people stay confined behind the walls, sometimes God is forced to move his hand. God causes revivals and awakenings to happen to bring his people back to life, to give them a pulse again. He gives them signs and wonders as motivation to go out from the shadow of the steeple and share their faith. In other words, he shakes the church, which results in tiny amounts of salt to come out of the towers. It causes people to leave the confines of the church and go out and be active in sharing their faith. The salt that has come out of the tower gets to fulfill its original purpose. God doesn't want you to be confined to a salt shaker. He wants you to go out and bring flavor to people's lives. He wants you to go out and preserve people's lives. Just like it said in Matthew, God can cause you to salt a steak and bring flavor and preservation, or God can cast you out onto the dirty streets where you will sit and wait for the street cleaner to come and get you. Let's be like grains of salt and bring flavor and preservation to the people around us. Let us go beyond these four walls and be active in sharing our faith.